So I'm kind of drowsy because I took like two little Sudafeds, and it's like 12:26 right now. But I told myself I was gonna make this video, so I'm not gonna go into all of the this week's day by day. But I do want to say that this last one hit it because, especially, I'm turning 32 on Monday. I just thought it was crazy on how the characteristics of Jesus really did hit. And I just want to say that this book is wonderful, and I'm so glad that I'm doing this. Um, Touch base this week has been crazy because I faced a lot dealing with this camp. I thought it was very interesting because I'm sick, and I told myself today look up something with the chest spiritually. Of course, I found out about the heart chakras, and then I went into the biblical armor of God, and this is the breastplate of righteousness. And I thought it was so cool because it said how the enemy attacks us is by making us feel unworthy and uses guilt. And that was something that I dealt with this whole week. To cut into it, Wednesday night was the day that Wednesday was the day I claimed myself um, as a ministry. Like that doing this foster camp, I displayed industry dance, but I also displayed ministry dance. And as soon as I got done, I was like, I got hit. I was fatigued, and I was like, dang, what's going on? I knew I gave so much energy out without being poured back in. And then Wednesday, that night, I ran to church. No lie, I ran to a church, and God was like, don't forget how you worship me. Don't forget how you praise and worship me. So I started dancing at the church that normally does not dance. And so much took place that night. Like I ended up hanging out with my like spiritual brothers and everything. And I ended up having a conversation with my mom. God told me to stay, hang out with her while she watched her Asian sitcoms and write down the things that he has for me pertaining to the city. And it led for us to have this conversation. I touched base on the foster care camp experience, where it's sad to say I experienced racism and sexism. That was a lot, and with that being said, that there was a fight that broke out during camp, and it triggered a lot for me and my sister because we were foster kids, and the kids that were involved, two of them were brothers and sisters, and then the one that caused the most damage is actually a representation of my dad. This kid dealt with a lot of sexual abuse, hence brings me forward my molestation. So unexpectedly on Wednesday, I ended up having a conversation with my mom and touched base about my molestation and explaining to her about the camp. And then she said, she first was like, and explained about how my old job, my old boss, she basically invited the kids as third party and started to slander my name. It told the kids I was manipulating them and that I used them as pawns. So in this moment of like with this night with my mom, I was just sharing things that were on top of each other, and the spirit was like literally going through because I didn't stutter or stammer, but it was God was like showing me where things connected, how my trauma affected me in my adult years. My mom first was like, don't put yourself in a position to be accused, and I told my mom straight up, I was like, what do you do when you were just placed? I was asleep when it happened, you know? And so it was a very tough conversation to have, but my mom ended up telling me that this is confirmation of what my sister had said that she heard from a spiritual healer, that there was ill feelings around, or ill negative feelings around my family. Someone close definitely spoke ill. And my mom admitted to me that she said she cursed my dad. And I asked her, I was like, did you curse? You put a curse on my dad? She said, Then she reframed or tried to reconstruct her words, but she said she murmured underneath her breath. So instead of praying to God, she was angry and she spoke ill. So when I heard that, God said she needs to pray. So, okay. So towards the end of that conversation, my mom ended up praying. She prayed over her heart. She prayed over the healing. She prayed just on a lot of things. And when she prayed, I was like, dang, like her and my sister have such strong convictions when they pray. So it was amazing. But I digress. Me being sick, I started to look into, like I said, the spiritual meaning. And I thought it was so cool because then it led to me to look up what my name means, to figure out more of my identity. And I just thought it was so cool because I was like, for the first time, am letting go of guilt and shame. I am actually stepping freely, and I claimed it in my life. I claimed freedom in my life. And it's just amazing because when I first stepped back, I was like, why am I sick? Why is this? Da, da, da. And my sister said it best. She was like, you're purging out the things that don't serve you anymore. So, like, I made this video because, like, I want to keep in contact. But it's so cool because the last day, day 5, is character like Christ. And it spoke about how the suffering that we endure brings perseverance and brings strength. I was like, dang, God, it just makes me think about where I'm at and where I was and just everything that got me up to this point. Sometimes I'm just left in disbelief because it's like, how, God, but it's God. It's what he do. So, if anything, I could just go, I'll read the last one. It says, daily response. What challenges are you facing now that you are helping to transform your character to be more like Christ? Now reading this, I'm like, oh, I read it differently. I think the challenges is just allowing it to set in. Allowing myself to know that you are being transformed. And that it's okay that you came from what you came from. Where do you see God's hand working in your circumstances? Listen, this car payment, I'm like, oh my God. My finances, everything. I just don't know how things are going, but it's so cool to see how he works. And how when you see it works, it just allows me to let go and to move out the way. And speaking specifically, in regards of this week, I see him when I start to speak more about letting go. It's just been a lot of pivotal points of full circles that had took place with me being in Florida that I notice where I make full circles with my past. And then it just said, thank God for the opportunities. And I just thank God for allowing me to be open and for the Holy Spirit, because if it wasn't for the Holy Spirit, I wouldn't have been led properly and I wouldn't have the vision to see what I need to see. Yeah. I know this is a long video, but this is a start and I promise I'm going to get it shorter, but unless you do phone calls, that'd be great. But I'm about to go to sleep because I'm on this medicine, you could tell. But I love you. I love you and Ari. Thank you so very much for being my spiritual parents. Till next time, we will talk soon.